Hi, I'm Hussein Delai, and in this video we'll see how I can show a list of persons in the view using the MVVM design pattern. So here what I did is just creating a blank Windows 8 application, and I added three folders: the models, view models, and the views. And here I'll go to the models and I'm gonna add a new class and I'm gonna call it person. In this class I'll make it public and then add two properties of type string, which is a name of the person, and the age of type int. Then I'll go to the view models folder and add another view model. Let's call it main view model. In this main view model I'm gonna add a list of persons, which should be a public property. So list of person, let's call it persons list, for example. And I want to add some data to that person's list. I'm gonna do that in the constructor so that I can show up these data later in my view. So let's create the new person. Let's call it Hussein and let's give it an age of 24, for example. Then let's create another person and let's call it Muhammad. Then let's this should be the name, of course. The name, you have to spell it correctly. Then let's give it an age of 17 and let's add another person and let's give it name. Let's call it Safe. Then let's give it an age of 35. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to show up this list, this information in the views. So I'm gonna go to the main page.xaml, which is the view of my application here, and on that view I'm gonna bind it to the main view model. So for that I select the page, then go to properties, and I have to build my application before of that. So build solution, or just go and click F6. Then I go to data context, select new, then go to main view model, select it, click OK. Then my page is bound to the main view model. Then I want to show that list of persons here inside a list view. So I'll go to toolbox and look for list view, drag and drop it here. So here I have the list view. So I want to bind the items of that list view to the persons list. So here I have to go to items source, then create data binding, select persons list, and I click OK. As you can see here, now I started to see some data. Now I want to format this data, so I'm gonna create a data item for each list, for each item in the list. So let's do that here. So to do that I'm gonna select list view dot item template. Inside of the item template, I'm gonna define a data template. That data template is gonna be of type let's say grid, for example, or let's say a stack panel. I have to spell it correctly, so stack panel. Inside that stack panel, I'm gonna add a text block. That text block is gonna get the property of, so let's say here, so here I'm doing binding of each person to this data template. So here I have access to the properties of inside the type person. So here in text I can write binding, then I can see here the two properties, age and name of the person. I select the name, so, and now I start to see the properties, name of each person, the properties I just created. Now I'm gonna add another properties, another text block, and give it the binding to binding here to the age property. So that's great. Now I'm gonna just give another color for this text, for this stack panel. Background, let's say chocolate, for example, and let's give it a standard width of 200, for example. Then here I have the list of my persons list, so each person inside a data template. So let's click F5 and see the result here. So here is my list of the 3 items I just created. So what is great about data binding in MVVM is that I can see the result of the execution of this app even when I'm doing design. So then that's what we call design time data. So I can see how my application will show the data when it's running. And this just saves a lot of time and makes it really very easy to design your application. So I don't have to go each time and run the application to see the modifications I have to do. So here the design of the app is on my eyes, and I have just to go and select the properties and modify them the way I like. Thank you.